Why, hello, and welcome back. Mr. Royster here on behalf of Vista Magnet Middle School's art program to talk to you a little bit about the one-point perspective art project that you're doing, that pattern portfolio. Remember, the GQ. How can an IB artist use the cycle of design to incorporate one-point perspective, pattern, line, shape, and color to create this one-point perspective portfolio project? By now, you should have gotten started on the investigation phase. You should have done that one-point perspective exercise, your 8 objects, some of those being letters. You should have reviewed the 3 different types of pattern. Anybody know what they are? Random, regular, and alternating patterns. And there's the half-drop pattern as well. And you should have collected 8 or more different kind of pattern textures in your art book. That exercise told us to put 8 spaces onto a 12 by 18 inch sheet of paper, and 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and then collect some sample patterns that you're going to use or incorporate into your design. So we're going to talk about the planning phase at this point and kind of work through the planning phase together. I'm going to show you briefly what the planning phase is. You're going to need to write notes. Take notes in Cornell note style about the steps for success as far as the planning is concerned. And so I'm going to take you through that right now with your intent to figure that out, and then from there we move on into the creation phase. All right? So let me put you on pause, and then I'm going to move things around. So your first step in your art book is to create a rough sketch of your letter styles. Okay? So in your art book, just very simple, you're going to do some sketches until you become happy with whatever letter style it is that you might use. Okay, I'm trying to figure out potential letter styles, and I'm trying to think 3D. Okay, think in 3D. Now, how would these letters look 3D? So you're going to use at least 5 letters from your name. You're going to rough sketch that out in your art book until you get the letter style that you like, and then you're going to be able to move on to the next step. Okay, you figure out your letter style, your bubble letter style. Think 3-dimensional. If my vanishing point's up here, where are those lines going to go? What am I going to see? So I want you to think 3D. Okay, you're thinking 3D. Second step is you're going to prepare a 12 by 18 inch sheet of paper for your name design by drawing a 1.5 inch line across the bottom. And this is a line that you're going to need in order to line up your letters correctly. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches from the bottom of my page, like so. And I'm going to connect those lines. A 1.5 inch line from the bottom. And I'm preparing my 12 by 18 inch paper. Okay, this is my rough sketch right now. I'm doing a rough sketch, and so I am going to create this line. And this is so that it'll fit on my paper. And on that, you're going to draw the letters of your name, okay? So you know that this represents no man's land. This is going to get trimmed off eventually. This is your working space right here. Third step is going to draw the letters of your name onto the sketch page in an uneven placement, but so you can read your name. Be sure to leave some space between the letters. So if my name, 5 letters, let's say my name is Larry, and I've decided upon this letter style right here. Okay, I've got my A there. I've got, my L is there. I've got my A here. I was thinking about the next letter. I've got an R here. I've got an R here. And so many of you are named Larry. I've got my Y there. It's uneven. There's space between them so that I have room to draw to my vanishing point. Okay, step 4. Draw a vanishing point. You have 3 options here, really, or a lot of options, but you're to draw a vanishing point. Now, some of you may just want to draw a vanishing point right down in the bottom here. 1 vanishing point, that's fine. Some of you want a challenge. You may want to draw a vanishing point for each of your letters so that your letters go in different directions. That may be your choice as well. Let's look at our example for a moment. So here's our example. You can see where Kaylee, her vanishing point was right in the middle. Actually, she had a vanishing point here. These lines are all drawn to that vanishing point. This vanishing point is over here. So it looks like she had more than one vanishing point. That vanishing point was in the middle, but for her L, her vanishing point was over here somewhere. Okay? These were drawn to that vanishing point. I can tell by looking at the angles as to where those vanishing points were. But they were pretty much in the center. So you notice how she left some space. In this case, I had a vanishing point for each letter. So I had one vanishing point is here. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's another one up here. Okay? So I had different vanishing points for different letters. All right? So you're going to need to decide where you want your vanishing point. Okay? Then you're going to draw your vanishing point lines to your vanishing point. So let's just say I'm going to go with this vanishing point right here. I'm going to move and draw my vanishing point lines to my vanishing point from my letters. And I've got to make a decision, just like in our exercise, how thick I want my letter to be. So I'm going to measure here, and I'm going to make this 1.5 inches. So for my letter L, that's 1.5 inches. Now, here on this line, I've got to copy that line parallel to make it look right. See, those are identical. And then I've got 1.5 inches here. If it's going to be 1.5 inches thick here, it's going to be 1.5 inches there. So I'm going to copy that line parallel to that, and that determines where this line is going to go. There's some mathematical logic involved in this that you have to, I feel like I need to do this. There's some mathematical logic involved in this that makes it so that you have to be able to understand where those lines go. It's true. So, you're going to do that, and you're going to draw your lines. This is your rough draft. All of your lines into your vanishing point. Erase all of the line that you don't want left. Get rid of that. Okay? You're going to do that with all of your letters. Capiche? Capiche? Caposh. Awesome. Then, step number 6. You're going to prepare the background of your sketch by lightly drawing 5 curved threads throughout the overall design. And you want to plan some of them so that they flow around your letters. So in other words, let's say I want a thread right here, and it's going to go behind this, and I'm going to have it curve over here. There's one thread. Then I'm going to draw another thread here, another thread that comes here. I want to break up my space, make it really interesting, because I'm going to fill my space with patterns. That was 3. Then I'm going to draw another thread right over here. And my last thread I'm going to do right across the center behind my letters. And so it breaks up my space this way. So those are my threads. So let's take a look at the example again. You can see where these threads are at. Every time the pattern changes, that's where the thread lines are. Every time the pattern changes, we see where the thread lines are. Okay? So you're going to draw your thread lines back there. And then you're going to erase any unwanted thread lines. So as you're taking a look at it, anything that you don't want there, you're going to erase it. You're going to make sure all your thread lines are where you want them to be. You're going to sketch into the background all the different patterns you're going to use. You're going to need 8 different patterns, and you're going to include those patterns, the regular pattern, the alternating pattern, random patterns, and half drop patterns. So you're going to need to include those into your design as well. As you can see in the example, we've got regular patterns, we've got some random patterning, we have a half drop right here, okay? We have some alternating design. You're going to rough draft that in. Where might I put those different patterns? And this is all in the planning phase. You're planning out your design to make sure you know exactly how you want it to look and what it's going to do and where it's going to go. And when you're confident, last step, when you're confident in where you're going and pending your teacher approval, because your teacher has to stamp off on this. Got all those questions, answers. Then you're going to get a piece of tag board and prepare the board for the creation by drawing a 2-inch border around the front of the folded board. So here's my folded board. You're going to get approved on your rough draft. Then you're going to get a piece of final portfolio board. You're going to draw a 2-inch border all the way around your board. Now you can see that when I trim this off, actually when I go to transfer it on, this lines up right here on that bottom line, and this fills that space really well. See how that fills that space? So your design is going to get transferred from here onto here. All right? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the planning phase of this 1-point perspective portfolio project. If you got questions, ask us. Email us. All right, there you go. We will see you later. So, next planning phase. So stay tuned for that, and we'll set the video up and film it so you can see what the planning phase is. Adios.